Are you all seeing that? Cool. What happened there? Okie dokie. All right, so welcome to BIOL3469, Practical Skills in Environmental Biology. So this is the course where we teach you about how to do science and experiments and stuff, okay? So this is where this course will be particularly useful to you if you do go on to do some sort of postgrad project, okay? So what we aim to do in this particular course, let me pull up the purpose of the course or the description. We want to expose you to general approaches and techniques used for research in ecology and environmental biology. So we want to take you through that whole scientific process from observing a phenomenon that you're interested in and you believe it will be of interest to others, or taking a problem which you may have while you're working in a, let's say a resource management field. I don't know, you're an environmental officer for the EMA, and you want to look at how you determine whether pollution is a problem in a particular area. How would you answer that question? How would you put together, using the scientific method, a research project which would give you results which would stand up to scrutiny, okay? Whether it be the scrutiny of the courts or scrutiny of other scientists and other people, okay? So what we endeavor to do with this particular course is to give you an idea, an introduction in how to do that research project, okay? We're going to do this by giving you some lectures and tutorials. I've got a series of lectures where we will go into, too many things going on here. We'll go into the whole process of what you think about when you want to put together a research project, okay? You would have done some of this when you did your biostats course, okay? But that mainly concentrated on how you compare your observations to what you would predict would happen with your hypothesis, okay? In this course, we want to take a broader view. How do you come up with the predictions? How do you design the methods to get your observations that you will compare with your predictions? Okay, so that's what the sorts of things we're going to go into, and hopefully we'll demonstrate some of these things in the practicals of the course. Okay, make sense? I hope so. Right. So, for those of you who have not met me before, I'm Dr. Mike Otum. I'm a plant ecologist. So ecology is what I do mostly. Okay. This course does cover other things, and it's a legacy course. So there is material, and the way the course is structured does take a look at ecological type research, but it also takes a look at environmental and so-called brown issues like pollution and so on as well. Okay, so I will do my best to try and let you know the difference between those two types of environmental biology, which you would tend to deal with in your future careers. Okay. Please contact me if you have any questions by email. It's fine for you to at least have an initial chat with me during the lectures, or come to my office, which is in the old wing of the NatSci buildings, right down the southern end on the first floor. Okay. But it's best if you get something in writing. Okay. So email is usually probably the best form. If you do talk to me during a lecture, hopefully I'll be able to give you guidance. And if I'm not able to and we need to follow up, then please do send me an email. Don't rely on me remembering to send you the information or an email. Okay? I'm likely to forget. Look, I've got gray. I'm old. All right? My memory's not what it used to be. Okay? Good. I'll get back to you within 48 hours with that lecture. We've got a letter to the student there. Yeah. Takeaway point from the letter to the student. This is a fundamental skill for a scientist. Okay. You may have gone through this sort of learning about this sort of process before. Have you done before in high school or any of your other undergraduate courses? Yeah. Look at it as reinforcement. Okay. Because it is an important skill. So the better you are at it, the better chances are that you're going to have a good career as some sort of research scientist. Okay? All right. Because it's quite useful, there's going to be a lot of transferable content in this course. In other words, the stuff that you learn in this course is going to be useful to you in other areas as well. Okay? In particular, in designing and carrying out and analyzing research projects. All right? So keep that in mind as we go through some of this course, so that you don't just get frustrated and say, what are we doing this for? Okay? Learning outcomes. I'll leave you to go through some of those things in detail. Course assessment. We don't have a final exam in this course, so it's 100% course assessment. Practicals are the main source of your marks. We have practical exercises, and they're mainly centered around 2 field trips where we would go through the process of trying to get you to think about developing research questions, predictions, and then get an idea of the methodology and going out collecting the data, bringing it back, and analyzing it to see if it matches your predictions. Okay? Now, we can only do this to a certain extent because of the nature of the course and how much time we have with you. Okay? So it's not a full-on experience, unfortunately. To do that, you'll have to do an undergraduate project, maybe. Okay, and you're perfectly. I think that's probably a good idea that you do something like that. Okay, whether it be a zoology project, plant-based project, or some other, maybe in environmental science type of project. Okay. Hello, good morning. All right, practicals are worth 60%. There's about 6 practical exercises. 2 of those are actually field trips where you go out and gather data. Associated with those 2 field trips, you will have an introductory tutorial where we would go through coming up with questions for the particular area and predictions, which we would then go out into the field. And then we have a follow-up practical. All right, so that comes up with about 6 practical exercises. Actually, I think there is 7 because we do have a practical exercise where we introduce you to different types of environmental equipment and so on. Okay. So about 7 practicals, I believe. Yeah. In-course tests and quizzes. We have 2 quizzes. Well, that scared her away, didn't it? We've got 2 quizzes. They're each worth 10%. All right. One at around the middle of the semester and one at the end of the semester. 2 mandatory tutorials. I actually lied just a minute ago when I said that there were practical exercise at the beginning. It's actually a tutorial. So the practical exercises, 2 out in the field, the lead up or the introduction to those practical exercises is actually a tutorial. Okay, so we'll have tutorial, go out in the bush, collect data, and then a follow-up practical. Okay, all right, good. All right, so yeah, so it's all coursework, so no final exam. All right. Teaching strategies, mainly lectures and tutorials. Okay. So I will at times ask you to read particular things and we can then discuss them during the lecture times. Okay. Otherwise, lectures will be PowerPoint and me expatiating about them and get you to try and say something. Okay. Practicals, generally designed to be hands-on. All right. So to get you to do stuff. All right. We've got a relatively small class size. So everybody's going to have to be doing something. Okay. All right. All right, I've got some resources there. Ford, we've got a little bit of that up on my learning. Any other ones? I think I do tend to use. No, I don't have it there. I do tend to use another text, so I will let you know what that one is, and I will put up selected bits of it up online. Okay. Additional information, undergraduates, attendance. 75% is the magic percentage. We need to see your bright, cheerful faces for at least 75% of the lectures and tutorials. We don't see you for at least 75%, you can be barred from the final examination. There is no final examination. So you have to be here for 75%. Otherwise, you're probably not going to make it through. All right? Okay, good. Medicals. The way I work medicals, if you're absent for the exercise on the day, you need a medical to give me a reason for that, but you still have to hand in the work, okay? Unless the medical covers a month or something like that, and then we'll make provisions, all right? But having a medical doesn't mean that you aren't going to submit something, okay? If you do not submit something, you will get 0, okay? And in 100% coursework type course, that usually means that you fail, all right? You can't not submit something for more than one of your courses before you will fail, okay? It's just as simple as that, really. All right, because you just won't have enough marks to pass. Blah, blah, blah. So take a look. Plagiarism is no-no. All right, yeah, we'll need to do medical and data emergency contact forms. I believe that they are available on My eLearning, but in the first lab, which I believe is week 3 on Tuesday, we will need to get all those medical data forms filled out, okay? So they're there to make us aware if there are any special provisions for you, whether you've got an allergic reaction to antibiotics or bee stings or something like that, which we will need to know about in case of an emergency, okay? Right, you can read about field work in this Life Sciences Documents Handbook, okay? That's quite useful. It'll help you get prepared, okay? We will be going out into the field on a couple of occasions, and the field can be quite an alien place for some of you who haven't gotten out there before. There are bugs and insects and things that will bite you out there, okay? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you will have a bad experience, all right? There are things that we can do to help minimize the discomfort, all right? And to help you have an enjoyable time. So take a look at that handbook, and that'll give you some tips and hints. Yeah, okay. All right. This is 100% coursework, so there's no final exam. So you're going to have to keep up with the material, all right? You're going to need to make sure that you submit things on time, all right? So you cannot just leave this course and then come back to it at exam time, all right? You will fail. So keep up with the course. Make sure you know when things are due in and stick to those submission dates. If there is something which is due in next week, don't start doing it 2 days before the submission date. Start it at least as soon as you can. All right. So if you're doing a lab and you've got to hand in the report a week later, as soon as you get home from the lab, sketch out what you need to do at the very least, okay, while it's fresh in your mind. Otherwise, if you leave it till the day before it's due to be handed in, you're going to forget half of the good stuff that you wanted to put in it. Okay, because you're going to be busy. You're an undergrad student. We give you 5 courses to do, and all sorts of things are going to be coming at you from everywhere. So it is a good idea to tackle things head on. Okay? All right. Attend because you need to. Okay? We do have statistics that show that if you don't attend the lectures or the tutorials, you don't do well. Okay? So if your agenda is not to do well, then fine. Don't come to the lectures and the tutorials. But if you want to do the best that you can, please come to the lectures and the tutorials. Okay? Because it's such a small class too, I will know if you do not turn up. Okay? So if there is a borderline situation and you haven't turned up, then I'm afraid it's not going to go your way. All right? Cool. Study, grading system. All right, so this is the course. Just let me, it's all laid out by week. The lectures, tutorials are there. Let me point out how the lectures, tutorials relate to the practicals. Practical 1 in week 3 is the only standalone practical, okay, which is basically not really related to a tutorial or follow-up session, okay? So in this one, we're just going to go into the lab and we're just going to show you all the wonderful toys that we get to play with in environmental biology, okay? So all the instruments, all the measuring tapes, all the different types of sampling equipment, and so on, which are used in environmental biology. Okay, so that would be practical 1. And we ask you to bring in some of the scientific method in that practical by choosing a piece of equipment and saying what sort of observations you can make with that equipment and propose a question that you could answer with those sorts of observations. Okay? So we sort of reverse engineer a research question. Okay? Practical 2, this is a field trip. We go out to Arena Forest, we collect data, and that's related to tutorial 1, where we go through a planning session where I give you an opportunity to put together some research questions and some predictions based on those research questions, okay? Constrained by the equipment and so on that we have, that we will be using in the practice, okay? So the idea is I will ask you to give me a research question based on moisture and distribution of trees, soil moisture and distribution of trees, okay? So you will come up then with a research question based on the interaction between trees and soil moisture, predictions based on that, and how we can test those predictions. Okay? And we will then go and experience a practical. It probably won't be using the methods that you've come up with, okay? But you'll at least experience some of the methods, okay? And based on what you experienced, you can review the type of methodology which you proposed in the tutorial, okay? All right, practical 3 will be an analysis of some of the data which was collected during the field trip, okay? And you will critique the methodology that we did actually use, okay? Was it good for answering the research question which I gave you, okay? Or was it bad? How could it be improved, okay? A similar process for the second practical. This one is an aquatic one. Okay, so we'll go out and do some aquatic sampling. All right. Similarly, we'll have a tutorial before then, where in this case, you do a methodology critique as well. All right, so a similar sort of thing. And then you would have a follow-up in the lab to do some data analysis. I think with the aquatic one, you actually do some IDs on samples which you take and so on. Okay? All right. So while these practicals are going on, we will have lectures on the different aspects of the scientific method, some basic skills like field and laboratory safety, research ethics, types of biological and ecological data, how you manage it, how you communicate research, and then some tutorials based on that information, okay? And these tutorials will be for marks, okay? And they will be mainly in the last couple of weeks of the semester, okay? There will be some oral presentations based on the second field trip, okay? And they will be in week 13, okay? Because this is 100%, we don't feel that you need to study for any exams, so we use week 13 to ask you to do an oral presentation, okay? All right, any questions? All of this is up on my learning. Let me see if I can pull it up. Okay, where are we? Okay, my learning. Change the role to All right, all the information. I'll try and record all the lectures, okay? But like I emphasized in Caribbean Island Ecology, this is really just to get the recordings so you can see it. You're still going to be expected to come to the lectures, okay? Oh, I haven't revealed everything to you, so let me switch back. There's the course outline, okay? Make sure you download it. I'll do some work on the page so everything's available to you this afternoon. Plagiarism, all the resources, practical, and so on. Right, so I've got all the, and I will try and put the recordings up there on my learning as well. But the PowerPoint presentations should be up there already. Okay. And any readings, I will try and get there up on my learning too. Okay. So we have the lectures. It's divided by weeks. The particular lecture in a week is there, and the particular practical or tutorial will be in that week's topic box. Okay. All right. So go and take an explore. Probably best to take a look tomorrow. Yeah, we need to talk about times of lectures. Our lecture times are 9 o'clock on Monday and 4 o'clock on Thursday, I believe. Okay. And our lab times are Tuesday afternoon, odd weeks. All right. So I will see you again on Thursday at 4. Is that about right? Okay. All right. So thanks for coming. And if anybody has any questions, just let me know, either now or send me an email. And otherwise, I will see you on Thursday. Okay. All right. Bye. What was your name? Yeah, I don't think I saw your name. So hopefully, yeah, there were a couple of people who were looking for overrides. Yeah, okay. But I'll look out for it, all right? Tony McConnell, if you want to send me an email, I can follow up. Okay, I'll send you an email. Yeah. Class rep. You volunteer. Yeah, so I will ask people later on. Just, so I don't mind doing it. Then probably get your name put down. I usually do it during the lectures because that's when most people and the labs as well. Varies. But I'll probably ask on Thursday. Yeah? You're going to be around on Thursday? Yeah. Oh, really? Why is that? No? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Do it. Can't hurt. Mhm. Yeah. When you say 3, I'm not doing biodiversity and conservation this semester. That we got products, alcohol. We're supposed to be doing the evolutionary biology this semester. Because Dr. Deacon is away. Okay. Yes. No, I'm not too sure. Anyway, Dr. Deacon is out for the semester. She's on. Yeah. Well, I don't think we have year-long projects. We would like to, but there's semester-long projects. So they're just basically courses which you can do, and they come supported with a few lectures which you go to do pretty much what we're doing here. Our scientific questions, put together a research project, that sort of stuff. But you also do some sort of guided research project. You actually collect data, you analyze that data, and you write up a research report. So it's good. If you have an idea of, or you're curious about what research is like and whether you would like to do it or not, it's a good way to find out about research. Which one, sorry? During the course? Yeah. No, it's very different. It's much more comprehensive, and it's really just you alone collecting the data, doing the project. Yeah, it's worth doing. All right. So Thursday, I'll see you putting up your hand for class rep. What happened? We could go through some of the questions sometime if you like. Yeah, yeah. Not an exam taker. You're not an exam taker. Yeah. Mhm. Yeah. Mhm. Like panic during exams or get anxious. Okay. Mhm. Good past exams. Right. Yeah. And well, I've got some up there with past exams and mark schemes. So just continue to do those and try and find out whether you're understanding what the question was and you're giving what the mark scheme says the was required. You understand what I mean? Um, you could take a look at the questions, like I said, and you can explain to me what you were wanting to put down. But did you go through that process that we were looking at last year, where we were last semester, where we were talking about doing an outline and then fleshing out the outline? Yeah, because I think that during COVID, people forgot how to write essays, I think. And I think going through a process and establishing in your mind, this is the process that you need to go through to write an essay, you know, in an exam type situation, or a short answer question in an exam. Write down the main bullet points and then flesh those bullet points out. I really believe that that helps a lot, because usually in your mind, you've got things stored in a hierarchical bullet point type of form. You understand what I mean? Mhm. Yeah, it was. I mean, like, you had all those multiple choice, 30 multiple choice, then three short answer, much like we would get during the makeup process. And then the essay. The essay had sections to it as well. So, but those are the sorts of things where you can put down bullets, yeah, and then see if the bullets answer the question, and then go ahead and flesh them out. To me, it's the sort of technique which I would use. Mind you, I haven't signed exam for about 25 years. So it's been a while. I said exams, but I haven't actually taken an exam for a long time. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, you've got to be careful with the AI, the ChatGPT as well. You've got to try and practice writing it yourself. And I think the whole bullet points, fleshing out the bullet points is a good process. Yeah. Yeah.